we'll try that.
Okay.
Remind me.
I will.
On Monday. Monday's the day.
I will.
Okay. Good morning. It is, what day is it? Thursday. It's the 8th, isn't it?
Yes.
The 8th of October. We are here for gentle yoga. I'm trying to get set up here. So, if anybody's out there and they can hear me, if you could give me a heads up that the sound is okay, I would really appreciate it. There has been some issue with it, with sound lately, so if you can hear me, can you say sound is good? If you're out there. If I keep walking up, it's because I can't read it from sitting in my chair. So, straps. We need straps today. So if you're at home, if you have a belt that you use or a strap, please have it handy so that you can grab it really easily, like right here at the beginning. Have it handy by you. And start to sit comfortably. So if you know that you're easier to sit up on blankets, if you're on the floor, use blankets. Stretch your legs out if you want, or cross your legs. Just be mindful. Take it easy. Thank you. Somebody says sound is good. I appreciate that. So close your eyes. Let your shoulders release down away from your ears. And start to feel the breath now. Easily coming in and going out through your nose. So don't force your breath. Just see if you can accept the breath in and out. Bringing your awareness to those little spaces between your breaths. So when you inhale, the end of your inhales, you feel that little space or pause before you exhale. And the same thing at the end of your exhales, that little space, that pause before you inhale. Now, let's release our arms on out beside us here now. Letting your shoulders come down away from your ears. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our chest, in front of our heart. Spread your fingers wide now. Let yourself separate your pointer fingers a little bit. And when you exhale, let them come back to touch. And the same thing with your middle fingers. Let them come apart a little bit. Just isolate a little bit here. And then exhale the fingers back together. And now go to your ring fingers, inhaling them away from each other. And on the exhale, let them come back to meet. And the pinky fingers come away from each other. And as you exhale, let them release back. And now inhale your thumbs just a little away. And on the exhale, bring the thumbs back to meet here now. And then just interlace your fingers and squeeze your palms together for a second here. Really squeeze your fingers into the back of your hands. Let yourself feel almost like you're squeezing enough to not tense up into your shoulders, but like you almost want to shake a little bit in your hands. And then we'll release, hands on down beside us and shake out. We're going to reach over and get that strap that we talked about earlier. And if you have an 8-foot like we do here at the studio, make that half of your strap. So if you're at home and you have something shorter, it depends on you. See if you can, if you have your strap, a long strap like this, you can hold towards the ends of it for a second when it's half, folded in half. And then bring the strap on down. We're going to inhale and rise the strap up overhead. Now you only go as far as your shoulders let you. And when you exhale, let the strap come on back down. Now this might feel really easy to you. Go a couple more times, inhaling the strap up and exhaling it back down. See how your shoulders feel. And if you're like, this is less than feeling great, you can stop anytime you want, or once you bring the strap back down again, if you're like, well, I want to get my hands closer together and see how that feels, you can do that. so that when you inhale and rise up, there's a little bit different distance there between your hands. And the exhales bring the strap down. So imagine here that you're trying very gently to make your strap longer when you rise it up, but your elbows hug towards each other. And then the exhales bring them back down. So finish off the one you're on. See if you can bring the strap up overhead again. Elbows hug inward. And now just twist a little tiny bit to your left, just a little bit. Draw your right sitting bone down. And then inhale, come on back into center. And then as we exhale, we're going to twist the other way. Not a big twist, just a little one. And then come on back into center again. And now lean over to the left. Let yourself come into a little side stretch there for the right side of the body. Doesn't matter which side you're doing, we're going to go the other way. Come on back up to the top and go the other way. Breathing into that side you're stretching. Letting yourself open up there through the shoulders. And then we'll come on back into center. Elbows hug inward. We're going to slowly lower that strap. On down. The side is here now. Good. And then just release. Let it go. Let it go on off beside you. We're not going to need it for a while. So take your time now. Stretch your legs out if you're on the floor. And if you're in your chair too. And circle through your feet and your ankles a little bit. Point and flex your feet so that you can come into feeling the feet. Tops of the feet stretch out. Backs of the legs stretch when you do those flexions of the feet. Good. And then we'll come on down. Now, if you're on the floor, leave your right leg long and cross your left foot across to the outside. We're going to do a little twist. Now, if you're in your chair, you can cross your left thigh over your right so that you come into cross-legged. Flex the foot if you're in the chair of that foot that's up, that left foot there. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, twisting to your left, bringing your left hand around behind you. And your right hand can be on your left knee there. You can bring your arm across. It depends. Same thing on the floor, whether you keep your hand there or bring your arm across. And just enjoy. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Feel the sense of your chin being parallel to the floor. One more inhale. And then let your exhale bring you back to center. We're going to come forward just a little bit, so let yourself just ease forward a bit, coming forward from your low back. Into a gentle, easy little forward bend, don't force it. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to switch legs. And again, so bringing that right thigh over. If your left leg is long, this foot can be below or above your knee if you're doing your twist from the floor there. So sit up nice and tall here at first, inhaling into the length of the spine. And on the exhale, we'll come on around with the right hand behind us or arm around onto the back of your chair, lengthening up through the top of your head. Feeling that twist in the middle of your back. One more nice full breath. And then use your belly to bring you back around into center. We're going to, again, come forward a little bit. So think of, if you're on the floor, you can kind of use your hands on your legs to draw you forward. If you'd rather go more to a figure 4, if you're there on the floor, you can. Let yourself ease your way forward. Good. One more breath. And then we'll slowly come on up, uncross your legs. Now, if you're on the floor, stretch your legs out long. If you're in your chair, separate your feet a little bit. And think of coming forward from a really lengthened back here. So even if you're on the floor with your legs long, come a little bit forward. You can reach for your toes if you want. If you're on the floor, you can reach for your shins. If you're in your chair, you can bring your hands down. You might even want to hold your feet, your ankles. Put your hands down on the floor and between your feet. So let it feel really good, your forward bend here. No kind of stress in your back. Good. One more breath. And then we'll slowly rise on back up. And take your time from here. Get comfortable. If you're in your chair, slide forward a little bit. Now, if you're on the floor, you might want to stretch your legs out or you may want to be cross-legged. So that's up to you. because we're going to do a little seated cat-cow, right? So instead of being on our hands and knees, think about moving through your back as though you're doing cat-cow here. Taking a nice inhale. And as you exhale, draw your tailbone forward. You start to curve the body into that C shape. Draw the navel towards the spine. Let your chin come down towards your chest. And then when you inhale, send your belly forward, which sends your sits bones back. Your tailbone goes back. And then start to open up here. Now, how far you look up is up to you. Letting yourself come as though you're coming into cow pose. So on the exhale, tailbone curls up under you, navel draws towards the spine, rounding into the back here. And on the inhale, stand the belly forward, the tailbone reaches back, and then also the sits bones do, and you can move back through. So move at your own timing, just like we do when we're on our hands and knees. Let yourself move through the spine here with the breath. Enjoying that movement through the spine. And then finish the one you're on. Come back to more neutral spine here now. Sit up nice and tall. And now just let your head tilt right ear towards your right shoulder. Stretch your left arm out beside you just a little bit. Let it be low. Flex through your hand, that left hand. And just breathe here. Let yourself release into that left side of your neck. And then slowly bringing the head back up, the hand down, we're going to switch. So as that left ear goes towards the left shoulder, right hand comes out, flex through the hand. Enjoy releasing there through the side of the neck. And then we'll come up, and then just bring your hands. You can cross, make an X kind of right around your wrist, and see if you can just hook your fingers over the top of your shoulders, right? So you just have like the fingers are just right here where we often have so much tension right here. But don't do anything except just let the hands rest. And you're going to feel weight because your elbows are kind of hanging down, right? See if you can just let yourself feel the hands gently coming into the tops of the shoulders. Just letting yourself breathe into that place where the hands are touching. And then we'll unfold our arms right on down beside us here now. And we're going to come on around towards our hands and knees. And you know, if you don't want to be on your knees, don't be. You know, have yourself up on the seat of the chair if you'd like to with your hands. Have a blanket under your knees if you're on the floor. And as soon as you get kind of situated there on your hands and knees, send your right foot back. Now, if you're on the floor, when your left knee's on the floor, just send the foot back, keep the toes curled under on the mat and get into the calf. So do a little mini lunge if you're on the chair, if you're up higher with your hands. And just really get into the back of that right leg. Enjoy. Engage your belly a little bit. So think about zipping up pubic bone to belly button. And we're going to switch our legs. So coming to the other side. So just really focus on the calf if you can. The calf of that left leg. Again, engaging the belly. Good. And we're going to switch again. So coming back again with that right foot. And this time, see if you can think about lifting your left hand up to your heart. Okay, that's harder when you're on your knees. Just mindful. Just be mindful. If you can't do it, don't do it. And then release back, and we're going to switch legs again. The left foot is back. If you can bring your right hand on up to your heart view. Good. And then bringing the hand down, let's step forward. And come on up into Uttanasana. Those of you on the floor, get your feet underneath you. And let yourself then bring your hands to where you like for your forward bend. Maybe on a chair, maybe on your elbows, elbows above the knees, or maybe you want to use your blocks. And walk a little bit, bend a knee at a time. Let it be easy. Good. And then come on back into center. Let your head hang if you can. Feel the feet very equal in the floor. And on your next inhale, find a nice long back. Whether you want to put your hands up to your shins or your chair or your blocks, do. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into lunge. So press your feet away from each other here. Really feel that belly engaging. Now keep your right hand where it is. Bring your left hand to your left hip. And let's turn into a little twist here. Just let yourself look to the left. Hand can stay on your hip. You can release the hand to the low back if you choose. And then we'll bring the hand on back down into lunge. And we're going to switch legs. So stepping that left foot back, finding your lunge here at first. Press the feet away from each other. Draw your shoulders down, away from your ears. And then we'll bring our right hand on up to our hip or to our low back and roll on up into that twist there. Drawing the shoulders down away from your ears. Engaging your belly. Good. And then we'll bring the hand down and let's step forward again. Coming back into standing forward bend. Bend both your knees here. And if you need support under your hands or your forearms, use it. Lift your toes up. And you can look at them if you can. Just make sure that your feet, spread your toes out a little bit if you can. Make sure your feet aren't rolling to the outside or the inside. You can kind of do a little bit of that and see how it feels. You know, when your knees kind of go knock-kneed or when you roll to the outside, you feel what that feels like. And get centered. And then let the toes gently come on back down onto the floor. We're going to bend our knees, bring our hands to our hips, and rise up to standing. We'll inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Finding our mountain pose here now. Letting your gaze come on forward and out. Think about, if you can, relaxing your jaw and your throat. So you feel space in the back of your throat, which keeps you from lifting your chin up where there's a tension there. Or even tucking the chin down under, right? Just imagine there's this lift through the back of the throat. Top of the head reaches up. Hands gently meeting there at center, helping you feel very balanced between the sides of your body. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us and inhale both arms all the way up into a wide V. Let your pinkies turn towards each other. If you want to look up, you can. If rising the chin up now feels good, to feel this sense of openness, keeping very stable in your pelvis there. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll bend the knees and come forward into our standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back. And we're going to step our right foot back and come into lunge. So whether you use the blocks or the chair or the floor, get ready here now. Coming on into down dog, you let yourself use the height you want underneath your hands for your down dog. So whether it's blocks, any height, or the floor or the chair. Walk if you'd like, bending a knee at a time. Find that length through the spine there. Bend both knees if that feels even better for you, to be able to reach back through your sitting bones. And on the next inhale, we'll come on out towards a plank. So as you make your way into that plank, it doesn't matter whether you need to put your knees down, whether you want to put your forearms on the floor so that you're knotting your wrists. Just be mindful, nice and strong here. Really reach your sitting bones down towards your heels. And then we'll come on back into down dog. Easily reaching through both sides of the body. Feel very long. And let's bring the right foot forward and come on into lunge. Again, however you need to get that there. You can put your left knee down to get the right foot forward. And we'll come on back into standing forward then. Easy, full breath. Right away, go to your breaths. Whatever helps you do that. If you like to count your breaths, you can count. If it feels good to think of a word when you inhale and another word when you exhale, then you can let yourself come back to the breath in whatever manner helps the most for you to keep your focus, your concentration with your breath. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, rising on up to standing. Inhaling the arms up overhead. On the exhale, lower your left arm down. Reach up through the right side of the body. And let's come over into side stretch. Let yourself really feel that right foot into the floor, breathing into that side you're stretching. And now as you come up, you're going to bend that top right elbow and the left arm, both arms are going to come behind you. Now you can decide if this left hand stays low on your low back or you want to reach your hands towards each other on your back there. Try not to hyperextend into the ribs here, into the front ribs. Good. And then we'll unfold both arms back down beside us. We'll inhale the left arm all the way out and up. And we're going to come over into that side stretch here, breathing into that side you're stretching. Feeling the spaces between the ribs with the breath. And then as you come back up and you bend that top elbow, the bottom hand comes up too. And you can put it on your low back or you can put that right hand up towards the left. Keeping your gaze forward. Feeling that openness through the chest here. Again, feel your tailbone reaching down towards between your heels. And then we'll unfold both our arms on down beside us. We're going to inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on the exhale, bend the knees as you come forward, back to your standing forward bend. And on your next inhale, find a nice long flat back. And this time, left foot will step back to find your lunge. Good. Let's get into our down dog. Again, whatever height you want to be. Now, sometimes you go into your dog and you're like, I'd like to try my hands at a different height. So you can switch. You could change the height of your blocks. You can decide, I want to try the floor instead of being up on the blocks at all, or I want to bring my hands back up into the seat of a chair. On your next inhale, come on out to your plank. Again, nice and strong. You can put knees down and do a half plank. You can do a forearm plank. You can do push-ups if you want, bending your elbows. And then we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And from here, the left foot will come forward into our lunge. And then we'll come on back into standing forward bend. Right to your breaths. Whatever helps you, remember. Receiving those full deep breaths in and out. Feeling your rib cage move, expanding when you inhale. Contracting back in as you exhale. Softness through your face. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up and inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's reverse. Inhale the hands right up through the midline. On the exhale, open the arms like wings and fold forward. Let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. And we're going to walk into down dog. So now you just place your hands the height you like to be. Walk yourself back. Once you get into where you're fairly comfortable, walk a little bit in your dog. Bend one knee at a time. Find a little bit more there maybe for the backs of the legs. Sometimes it makes you want to change too, how you are in the pose. Whether you walk your feet a little closer towards your hands or further back. Good. And the next inhale, let's come on out to plank again. Now if you want to do a back bend, you can. You don't need to. You can if you choose. Let yourself come on down towards an up dog or cobra, or you can go into sphinx on your forearms. You can stay in plank, and we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. Good, we're going to do that same thing. Next inhale, we'll come on out to plank. Again, it's up to you whether you want to add any kind of a back bend or not. And then we'll make our way again back into downward facing dog pose. And we'll bring the right foot forward and through to come into lunge. And then back into standing forward bend. Breaths again, really focusing in and out. And now, like we did at the beginning, see if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. It's kind of easier sometimes after you've done a little bit of warm up. And see if you can imagine resting in those little spaces between your breaths. One more nice, deep, full breath. And then we're going to rise on up to standing, letting our feet press into the mat. Inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come right together in front of our chest. Spread your fingers a little bit. Again, feel that connection through each of your fingers and your thumbs. Your palms are just gently meeting there. And then feel your feet in the floor. Finding that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. Good, and then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit, move around if you need to. And we're gonna come into some warriors. So if you're using your chair, you might wanna turn the back of it around. And have your blocks handy so that you have them if you need them. And we're gonna step our left foot forward and come into warrior two. So take your time. You know, your feet for warrior two can be 2 feet apart, 3 feet, 4 feet, doesn't matter. What does matter is getting that alignment of that front knee and the alignment of the back foot so that you're comfortable in your back knee all the way up into your hip. So, you know, you can be about parallel to the back edge, or you can send your right heel back further if that's okay for you. And take your time. Just really put your hands on your hips for a second. Let your shoulders really melt down. Feel the feet in the floor. And then from here, just lower your hands down to your thighs and feel the sense of space between your ears and your shoulders. And then on the next inhale, we'll rise the arms up and out from the shoulders, turning our gaze to look right out over the top of that left hand. Feeling the feet pressing gently away from each other now, like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. As you do that, softening your shoulders as much as you can as you reach out through your fingertips. And then let's turn the left palm up and inhale that left hand up. Now you can use your right hand back there on your leg to give you a little support. You might even want to reach a little more behind yourself. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle. Left hand or forearm can be on your chair, on your thigh, right? Whatever height you want to be. Letting the right arm come up if your shoulder lets you into line with the right side of the body. Think about energy all the way out through your right fingertips. So you have this long line of energy down the right side of the body, and you're not dropping into that left hand or forearm at all. You're really feeling that sense of length through both sides of the body. And then we'll come on back into warrior two, pressing those feet away from each other as we come. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips. We're going to turn our feet more parallel. You may want a block or two here. So bring yourself forward. Grab a block if you need. Coming into that wide-legged forward and bend. And once you get your hands where you want them, go ahead and bend your right knee. And then come on back into center and bend your left knee. So come side to side now at your own pace a couple of times so that it feels releasing and good. And then come on back into center. And now see if you can walk your hands out like you're doing down dog. Now you may want to use your blocks, right? Let your hands come way out from you. Let your chest melt down a little bit towards the floor so that you're really coming into that upper back there. Just be mindful. And then we'll walk the hands back now. Now we want to have a nice flat back, like you're parallel to the floor. So you can use blocks or you can have your hands on the floor. We're going to shift our weight to our right hand and bring our left hand up to our left hip. And then we're going to rotate that left shoulder up with the left palm down onto the low back, coming into twist, right in the middle of your back. So you're level right back here on your sacrum. It's like you could put a cup of tea there and it wouldn't spill, right? You're very even there. And then we'll bring the left hand down and we'll bring the right hand up and start to roll the right shoulder up. And again, that twist is in the middle of your back. So you stay the same in your pelvis. Good, very nice. Lengthening out through the top of your head. One more breath. And then bring both hands down. Now you set up to be comfortable, so that might mean you want to set your blocks up, use them for your forearms, or you may want to walk your hands more to between your feet or towards your feet or your ankles. Just be mindful and see if you can get to a place, if possible, where you can let your head hang. If that puts too much pressure in your back, keep your head more in line with your spine, but if you can let your head go and then just really soften through your face, through your jaw, and watch those breaths all the way in and all the way out. One more full deep breath. Now to rise up, you know, if it's easier for you to bring your feet together more before you come up, do rising on up to standing and bringing your feet on together. However you need to. Walk through the feet. If you need to walk around your mat, do. We're going to come into the other side. So again, you have your blocks handy if you need them there by the front of the mat. The left foot is going to step back into that warrior two. Again, your feet can be much closer together as long as this front knee isn't bent out beyond your toes. You can be in a very short stance, or you can come into a longer stance if that feels really good in your hips, your knees. So take your time, get easy there, let your hands release down for a second. Really let yourself really feel the weight of your arms for a minute here. So arms are just hanging, naturally hanging down. And now from that hanging, as you inhale, imagine there are balloons in your armpits and they're being blown up. And that's what's going to rise your arms on up and out. Bringing your gaze right out over the top of that right hand here now. Feel the shoulders softening down. Feel energy all the way out through your fingertips, like you're reaching out as far away from you as you can. But that doesn't tense your shoulders up. Instead, it makes them softer. And then we'll turn that right palm up. Left hand comes to the left leg. Inhale, reach up towards the sky. Let yourself breathe into that side. You're stretching. You can reach a little further back if you want. And on the exhale, come into that side angle, where again, the right hand can come onto your right thigh. You can go all the way to your forearm if you want to. Adding the left arm is optional. Up into line. If your shoulder won't let you do that, keep your left hand on your left hip. Or keep it down, laying on the side of the body, right? But see if you can enjoy length through both sides of the body. Good. One more breath. And now we're going to rise back to warrior two. Press those feet away from each other. Reach out through the fingertips again. Feel your whole body in the pose. And then we'll bring our hands down. We're going to turn our feet more parallel, and we're going to come forward again into that wide-legged forward bend. So again, if you like your blocks, grab your blocks. Once we get there, let's walk over towards our left foot. And that might mean you want to just shift your block a little bit to the left. You may want to walk your hands over towards your foot. Stay there for a breath or two. Give your legs time to adjust here. And then we'll come back through center, and we're going to go the other side. So again, once you go over to the right, doesn't matter how far. See if you can stay pretty equal in your legs. Feel your feet equally on the floor. Think about your arches lifting up right here, but don't roll to the outside of the feet, right? You really also want to feel the big toe mounds pressing into the ground. And then we'll come on back into center. Yeah. Ease your way. You know, maybe you don't want to use your blocks. Maybe you want to put your elbows above your knees to rest here in the pose. Maybe you feel like bringing your hands
behind you. You can walk your hands way back behind you if you choose. Letting your head release. And then again, feeling the breath in and out through your nose. Finding that calming breath, easy and even. One more full deep breath here. And we're going to bring our hands on back up to our legs here, our hips, and rise on back up to standing. And then take your time. Bring yourself together. Again, move through your feet and your ankles if you need to. And we're going to come into warrior one this time with the left foot forward. Now you may still want your chair there. Make sure you have your blocks too, okay? We're going to step our right foot back and bring ourselves around into warrior one. So if you can, let your hands come to your heart. And then take a look here. As you get your knee lined up over the center of the foot, you feel really grounded in that back foot, the arch is lifting up. See if you can straighten the front knee out and then bend it. And watch it as you do that. So straightening and bending just 3 or 4 times. So it feels like it gets into this groove. Just right out over the center of the foot. And then, the next time you come into that bent left knee, let yourself stay there. Bring your gaze on forward. And let yourself, from here, inhale your hands right up through the midline of the body. And see if you can interlace your fingers. Send your pointer finger up. Let yourself hug your elbows in towards your face, towards your head here. Now, you can be forward. That feels better for your shoulders. Don't push it. Let yourself be where you can. Feel those muscles that come wrapping around underneath your arms, which causes a feeling of the armpits kind of hollowing out. You can look up if you choose. One more breath here. And then we'll release our hands behind us. Clasp your hands together. Bow your head. And then you may also want to bow your whole body forward over your inner leg. That's up to you. You don't have to. You can stay up with the body and just let your head come down. You may even want to release your arms off your back. So if that feels good, you can bring your arms off your back a little bit. And then we're going to bring our hands on down to whatever surface, the chair or the blocks or the floor, and find a full lunge. Now you want to reach that right heel directly behind your foot. Let's add an easy twist. Left hand to the left hip and turning on into that twist. You can look to the left here. You can stretch your left arm up if you want to. Or you can keep your hand down. One more breath. And then we'll bring that left hand down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And from here, see if you can walk your Uttanasana a little bit by lifting the heel up of the bent leg. So that you actually walk through by coming into the feet a little deeper. You're right on the ball of the foot. And then see if you can end up, and you got your hands down to give you support, end up with your both heels are up and your legs straight. So you're up on the balls of the feet. Your heels are up off the ground. And now see if you can keep your heels up, but bend your knees, like your belly's coming towards your thighs. And then put your heels down onto the floor. And then let's bring our hands to our hips, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. Inhale your arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let your hands come down. Take a breath. Enjoy your mountain pose. Get centered out, just being with your breath. If you go right to your breath, it doesn't take long for the body to respond, to feel very centered and even. And then we'll go ahead and let our arms come on down, shake out a little bit. And we're going to go the other side. So we'll step our left foot back for that warrior one. So again, let yourself have your blocks handy. Stepping this foot back. If you need to widen your stance in warrior one, like you're on railroad tracks instead of being on a tightrope. right? Then separate your feet a little bit where it feels really comfortable. Take a peek now as you look at that front knee and you look at your foot there on the floor. Start to, as you bring your hands to your heart and you look down, start to straighten that front knee and then bend it again. It's not a big deal, right? So especially if you're in a pretty short stance, it's not that big of a movement, but you can really start to feel evenness developing from the feet all the way up through the legs into the hips. And the next time you bend, try to stay there. Feel as even as you can between your feet. Bring your gaze on forward, and then we'll inhale the hands all the way up through the midline. Go ahead and clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up. Let your elbows hug in towards your head a little bit. They can stay forward if you need. And then you can decide if you want to bring your gaze up or not. Whether the arms come back in line with your ears or not, or stay forward, it doesn't matter. Feel that uplift in the front of the body, that downward release in the back of the body. One more nice full breath. And then we're going to release, bringing our gaze on forward, hands behind us. And we're going to, again, just bow your head if that's enough for you. Let your head come down, chin towards your chest. You can fold more over that front leg if you choose to. And some of you may even decide you want to bring your arms off your back. That is up to you. You can keep your hands down. You know that. Put them down on the floor, the blocks if you need, or the chair. Or keep them on your back. And then let's bring our hands down. We're going to find a lunge. So you may want your blocks. You may want to use the chair. Release that left heel directly behind your foot now. And let's add that twist. Right hand coming on up to your right hip. We're turning into that twist with your hand on your low back or stretching your arm up if you choose. Good. One more breath. And then we'll release and come on back down with our hand. We're going to step forward with our feet coming right under us. Soften your knees a little bit, feeling really equal between your legs. If you're able to hold your elbows, do. If that's too much, don't do it. You know, if it hurts your back, do not do it at all. Use support. Nice full breaths. And then we'll bring our hands up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up. Inhaling the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, think about the top of the head reaching up higher as your hands come to rest right there in front of your chest. Just make sure you're not locking your knees, but you feel that upward lift of the thighs. Finding that ease of standing in your mountain pose. Good. And then we'll release, unfold our arms, shake it out a little bit, move around, do whatever you need to do. And we are going to take our mats to a wall. So you guys in here, at home, we need a little bit of a wall, not a lot. So you don't have to do anything major. Just if you can give yourself a little bit of wall, do. And we're going to use these straps. So get a hold of your strap. And we're going to stand with our left hand towards a wall or whatever you have at home. Maybe a kitchen cabinet. Seeing to make sure everybody can still hear. And see if you can step your foot into the strap right across the ball of your foot. Right? So you've got your foot. It's pretty easy if you put the strap down and then step on it. And look at your left foot before you even lift that right foot up in front of you. Act like you're stepping up a step. So just flex the right knee, and there you are. Kind of hold the strap where you're not tensing up your shoulders. Let your shoulders release down. And then see if you can maybe let that leg go straighter. It can be low, right? Try not to lean back when the leg straightens out. Keep the shoulders over the hips. You can balance there if you want. You can let go of the wall, see how it feels. And then you can hold the wall again if you want as you bring the leg out to the side, rotating that heel forward, keeping the hips still square to the wall you're looking at. So you don't want to open up and torque into that bottom knee. You want to be really mindful of keeping, and most people it's about a 45-degree angle when you're at your side. And now bring it back to the front. It's actually really hard work when your leg's low. It's actually almost harder when your leg is low than if you bring your leg up higher, believe it or not, right? So then bend the knee, bring the strap over your shoulder. You've got the foot now in the strap, maybe the ankle when the foot's behind you, or maybe the top of your foot. Doesn't matter which one. Press into the strap a little bit with your foot and maybe see if you can balance there. You can let go of the wall. And some of you might want to send your knee back a little bit. Let your torso come a little forward. You can hold on to do that. And find a good quad stretch there. Some of you might want to come back upright with the body and put the strap where you're holding above your head with your right hand. That's even deeper, especially if you hold both hands on the strap, right, and you're balancing. So don't do that if you don't feel comfortable. Don't do it if you're going to fall over. It's not worth it. Let yourself ease your way to where you can be. And then we'll release. We're going to come on down and take care of that left leg you're standing on, right? Shake it out if you need to. That doesn't look like much, does it? But whew. It's a lot more than it looks like. So take a time now to start to step on the strap of your left foot. Right hand gives you a little support there. Right foot there is about parallel to the wall. And then like you're stepping up a step, bend that left knee as you bring it up in front of you. Try to keep your shoulders over your hips. You can decide here. Look forward and decide if you want to bring your hand off the wall and balance a little bit or not. Straighten the leg out if you can. Now, if you want to bring it higher, you can bring the leg higher. There's nothing wrong with bringing it higher. Just don't want to lean back to do it. Now, bring your hand back to the wall if you need it. We're going to open the leg out to the left, to the side, rotating that heel forward. So there's not much movement there. It's not like you're going all the way sideways, which turns people's hips. You want to keep the hips square. Beautiful. You can balance here too if you want. And then use the wall if you need. Bring your foot back in front of you. And then lower it down. The strap comes over your shoulder and it ends up usually on your ankle or the top of your foot. I like the top of the foot just because for then I just feel really good about pressing in there and I get a stretch in my foot. So you can decide here. You can think about balancing right there with the knee straight down. You can hold on to the wall, let the knee go back, let your chest come forward a little bit if you want a little more pressing into that strap. And of course you can always go more into balance. Come up with that left hand over your head and then think about holding on to the strap with both hands. Right, so easy does it. You're tied up so you don't want to fall over. So finish off. And come on down, good. Get rid of your strap and go back to the wall and let yourself walk your feet out and feel your back. As you bend your knees, don't let it be too big, just a little bend. Knees are out over the center of the feet. Feet are about hips distance apart. And then just feel the wall behind you here now. Bring your arms out. Turn your palms away from the wall. Feel the back of the hands coming into the wall. So feel how your shoulder blades, when you do that, are just really coming down and forward a little bit, the tips of the edges of the shoulder blades there. And then bring your hands forward, left arm over right, give yourself a hug. You can still feel what your shoulders are doing there in the wall. Maybe even do a half eagle or an eagle wrap, sending the backs of the hands towards each other. That doesn't mean you have to do the final right hand into the left palm unless you want to. And then we're going to unwind. Now, when the arms come back to the wall, have them be like goddess arms. Elbows are bent. Let yourself face outward with your palms. Good. And then we're going to bring the right arm on top of the left. Again, you can hug and stay there. You can send the backs of the hands towards each other. You can do a half wrap. You can come into that full left fingers to the right palm if you choose. And then we're going to open back to those goddess arms again, one more time.
palms face out. Let yourself feel your shoulders there. And then slowly lower the arms on down beside you. And start to lean forward. Now, if you decide you want your feet to come out further, do. If you can rest your elbows above your knees, do. Let it feel like your back is lengthened out here. Good. Beautiful. One more breath. And then we're going to come back up to the wall. Keep your knees bent if you can. Let yourself rise back with your back to the wall. And then walk your feet in. And we're going to turn around and face the wall and find a plank with our hands at the wall. So let your hands come back just out from your shoulders, right? It's like you're going to do a push-up, which you are. So you might have your heels in the floor here in this plank pose for the body. Make sure you're not bowling yourself, sinking to the wall with the belly, or breaking at the hips more towards that, L shape. So bend your elbows a little bit. Don't go far. Stay there for a second. Feel your elbows hugging towards each other. And then come on back into long arms. So letting yourself bend the elbows, go as far as you want, and then come on back into your plank. Now you can stay with those bent elbows. It'd be like chaturanga if you were on the ground, and you can stay there, or you can keep moving, right? You can keep coming into the wall and back out. Finish off the one you're on. And we're going to step into the wall again. This time, rise your arms up overhead and see if you can just hold on close to your elbows, right? So that, you may not be able to get that far. Depends on your shoulders. You might be able to hold your wrists instead or your hands. But just release here and see if you can just very easily come a little bit from one side to the other. So, not harshly, right? Just really easily feeling that sense of coming into the ribs, but at the same time releasing your triceps up there. And then we're going to come on down with the arms. And let your arms swing around a little bit, right? Back and forth a little bit. We're going to come down to our bellies on the floor. So, ease your way down. Take your time. Get yourself down onto the floor and make a little pillow with your hands if that's comfortable for you to rest your forehead on your hands that way. If not, grab a blanket or put your head right down to the floor if you'd rather. But just let your legs be relaxed. For a lot of people, heels hiking outward is the most releasing for up into the hips. That's not everybody though. So you can kind of turn your feet in, let the heels go inward and then outward a little bit until you get to that place where it feels just natural, you can relax. And then just breathe into your low back. Feel that rising of the low back as you inhale. Good. And let's come on into a Sphinx pose with our elbows under our shoulders here now. Spread your fingers nice and wide. Actually, for a second, turn your palms up. So let the backs of the hands come to the floor. You can't force your thumbs down, but let your thumbs kind of reach like they're reaching downward. Letting yourself feel open across your chest. And then slowly reverse to put the palms down into the floor. And spread your fingers wide there. Just take your time, feeling that sense of the tailbones just gently reaching down, but it's not huge. You're trying not to tense up too much in the buttocks. Good. And now turn your left forearm to where it's parallel to the front edge of your mat. And that left hand can just rest on your right arm there. That might be as much as you want to do when you bend your right knee. You might want to stay right there, bend your right knee. You can just let your left hand rest there on the forearm of your right. And then if you decide you want to reach back with your right hand to get your foot, you can in half bow. That's
totally up to you whether your hand even gets back there and can reach your foot. Now, if you're like, there's no way I can do that, but I can come down and do that, then you can go ahead and release down with the upper body and reach back maybe and get hold of the foot. So press the foot gently into the hand if you have it. Good, and then we're gonna release that leg down. We're gonna come back to a Sphinx pose, even yourself out here, really get even there. And then fold that right forearm about parallel to the front edge of your mat and bend your left knee. Flex your foot. If you don't feel your quad there, you feel it, definitely doesn't take having to reach back. And again, if you feel like, well, if I come down, I can get that foot back there and I can press the foot into my hand. And then you may even decide to bring your forearm more towards your waist and come up higher in the back bend part of it, but not necessarily. So there's a lot going on here, right? It's not just your quad stretch. Good, we're gonna come on down. Release your arms alongside you. Let your palms turn down towards the floor. Come up to your fingertips so that your palms are off the floor. And on your next inhale, let your head and your legs float up a little bit. Let your elbows soften as you come up into a little locust pose. Reaching back through the toes, opening across the chest as those elbows bend a little bit. One more breath. And then we're going to release and come down and back towards pose of a child as far as feels good for you to go. And you know if child's pose is not for you, do not do it. Stay on your belly and breathe into your back. If bringing the big toes together, knees apart, and letting your hips shift back towards your heels feels good, you can sometimes use a rolled blanket. That might be helpful if you don't feel comfortable in your knees to go all the way, or your back. And then just breathe. Nice, easy, full breaths. Good. One more full deep breath. And now we're going to walk our hands back by our knees and come on around to sitting. So if you know that sitting with your legs in front of you is less than fun, grab yourself a blanket. Still might be a little less than fun, but getting up higher can make a really big difference. If you sit up even on a block and a blanket, can be a really good idea if you're tight in your hamstrings and tight in your low back. And then from here, we're going to separate our legs out a little bit, right? So into a bit of a wide angle. You can go as far as you want. If you're comfortable and you're built in your hips where it's easy to bring your legs wide, bring your legs wider, You can also roll blankets and put them underneath your knees, or put blocks underneath your knees. So if you're like, this pose is sheer agony, you can try that so that you can sit up a little bit taller. Once you release the hamstrings, it might give you a little more of this instead of being tucked under here, right? So whatever makes sense for your own body, take your time. And then we'll think about coming a little bit forward. So knees and toes are facing up towards the ceiling. You can just have your hand, you can put a block if you want in front of you. You can use your hands on your legs. Some people, if your legs are closer together, like to reach down for their toes. And you are going to get a stretch here. No two ways about it. Even if you're really open, even if you bring your legs closer together, you're going to get a stretch in your hips and your hamstrings. So just follow your breath in and out. Good. Now let's come up from here, and then let your left hand come onto your left leg and slide it down towards your ankle, maybe all the way to your foot. And then as your right hand comes to your hip, roll your right shoulder up, and there you are in a side stretch there. You can add your arm if you want to add the arm straight up, or maybe you want to add the arm releasing down towards your head. Maybe even your hand coming towards your toe, right? That's up to you. You're just coming into the side stretch where you're able to be. Don't even use the arm if your shoulder bothers you. Just roll the shoulder up. You're still getting into that right side of the body, right? Good. One more breath. And then we'll slowly come on back up, and we're going to do the right hand down towards the ankle, towards the foot, rolling the left shoulder up. And again, maybe that is enough for you. I mean, you can even put your hand on your ribs if you want to. You can put your hand, I forgot to say, but on the back of your head if that feels good too. Or you can stretch your arm long. So again, just be mindful, let it feel like you're opening through that left side of the body. Different for everyone, where the arm can go, where it feels like you're getting the most side stretch. One more breath. And we're going to slowly make our way all the way back up. And let's bring our legs on around and bring them in front of you. Bend your knees here a little bit. And let yourself kind of round your back here, unless it hurts you, right? If you can drop your head down towards your knees, that doesn't mean your head's going to touch your knees, but towards them. And you can just kind of wrap your arms around your shins and let yourself release here. In the middle back, right? Again, if it hurts, don't do it. And then we'll come up, and you may want your feet to go out a little bit farther. We're going to twist a little bit here. So think about coming around to the left. You can have your right hand right there on your left knee and bring your left hand behind you. Or you can put your arm all the way across to the outside of that left knee if you choose. So if you want to drape your right arm to the outside of the left knee and that feels good, do it. Otherwise, keep your hand there. Try to keep your knees fairly close together. Lengthen up through the top of your head. One more inhale. And on the exhale, come on back into center. Stay for a second at center. As you exhale, round a little bit into your back. And then when you inhale, roll up through the spine to sit up nice and tall again. Right? And on your next exhale, we're going to twist the other leg. So right hand comes around behind you. Again, you can have your hand on your knee. You can come across with that left arm. Lengthen up. Now really draw your left sitting bone down towards the ground. Good. One more breath. And then as you exhale, coming on back around into center. Now you can just keep your hands on the floor, draw your chest open. If any of you want to come up into a 4-footed table, you can turn your fingertips towards the middle of the room or turn the hands out and lift up your hips if you choose to do that. So sometimes if you come up, it doesn't feel so good with the hands turned one way. You can try them the other way. See which one feels better. And if they don't feel good on either way, just stop and don't do any of it. But just be mindful. Let yourself come into where you can to open through the chest, the shoulders, the arms. Good. And then we're going to release and come down if we were up. And stretch your legs forward. Move through your wrists a little bit here. We are going to make our way down onto our backs. So as you do that, take your time. Come on down and let your knees come in towards your chest. Let the knees come side to side. Let it feel good. You know, it may feel better to you to keep your knees out farther away from you and move them side to side, or it might feel better to bring your knees in closer towards you and let them go side to side. That depends on you. Or circle, if circles feel better. Good, and then we'll come on back with our feet onto the floor here now and do a couple of little pelvic tilts. Let yourself, as you exhale, feel your tailbone, your sitting bones curl up a little bit. Low back presses into the floor. Just ease way into feeling more release for your low back. And then finish off the one you're on. And bring your knees back into your chest. Send your feet up in the air and send your arms up in the air. It's kind of like a dead bug pose, all right? You're just, knees are bent, elbows are kind of soft. You're feeling your shoulders melt into the ground. Imagine your hips melting. And if you're like, wow, this does not feel comfortable, adjust. Do what you want. If you'd rather do a happy baby pose, do a happy baby pose. If lying here and just letting yourself breathe for a little bit, it takes a bit in this pose to really start to feel like the weight of the arms and the legs are helping you release into your shoulders and your hips. So just take your time. If your body needs to do something else, by all means do it. That could be anything at all that feels good to you. If you need to do another twist, if you feel like you would like to do a bridge pose or supported bridge pose, by all means, start to follow what the body is telling you to do instead of you telling it what to do. And then start to get some lights here in the studio. I will then start to come around to bring bolsters if anybody needs, blankets if anybody needs. If you're home, now's the time to, if you're finishing off a pose or two, go ahead, but think about what you need to be comfortable. So if you need a little bit of a blanket underneath the back of your head, you can use that so that you're released in your neck. If you need cover to be comfortable at home, grab that, a rolled blanket. Underneath your knees can help you too. Just get easy. Legs up the wall is another way that can really help a lot of people find release in their back and their hips. So take your time. Close your eyes closed and you start to feel that support of the ground. Just allow the body to respond to that firmness of the floor. Really helps you to relax more fully. And then be with your own breath. Easily now accepting your breaths in and out. And just keep coming back to your breath. Whenever you wander off into thinking, just come back again. It gets easier and easier. Giving yourself these few minutes to completely and fully relax.
Imagine those deeper breaths just flowing all through your body, out to the tips of your fingers and your toes, bringing you back now into wanting to move, wiggling your extremities, coming into your hands, your feet how you need. You might want to circle your hands and feet around a little bit. Just be easy. Stretch if you need to, or bring your knees in towards your chest if that feels better for your back. And you may want to stay on your back. You may want to roll onto either your right or your left side. Just if you can appreciate the ground a little bit longer, however that is best for you, just appreciate gravity holding you there and give yourself a little more time. So that when you do feel like rising up to sitting, it feels like it's the next natural thing to do. Get comfortable once you come up in the way that you're sitting, and let your eyes gently close so you can focus again on feeling that length in your spine. Coming back to your breath. On your next exhale, bringing your hands gently to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste.